From Aloha Stadium in Honolulu, Hawaii, it's the 2018 Pacific Rim Cup. And we say aloha or good morning to those in Ohio. And thanks for joining. Neil Sika with you as the Black and Gold Columbus Crew Soccer Club gets ready to formally kick off their 2018 preseason in this annual event. That begins with Columbus and Pedro Santos right off the kickoff. Coming outside the 18, they're taking on Hokkaido Consadole Sapporo out of the J1 League, the top league in Japan, a team that finished 11th out of 20 in the Japanese First Division last year. Columbus and Greg Berhalter in his 5th season, and he took the team to the cusp of MLS Cup as they fell in the Eastern Conference Final, as you know, to Toronto FC. Some new faces, which we'll get to as we are just into tonight's match. 44 seconds in. There's 4 teams, 2 from Japan, 2 from MLS, Columbus and Vancouver, the other representative. So here's Pipa Higuain of his new DP deal, going for goal, and it's wide at a partial deflection. The keeper for Sapporo is Takanori Sugeno, 16-year pro, who was on loan from Kyoto Senga. Much of their history, this Sapporo team has been in the 2nd division of Japanese soccer. In fact, back-to-back First Division seasons for the first time since 02-03. On the in-swinger, Alex Granelli, who pairs in central defense with Josh Williams. Connor Maloney, along with Milton Valenzuela, the new signing and one that Greg Berhalter and staff very excited about. The Argentine from Newell's Old Boys, who joined the team here in Honolulu on Tuesday, gets the start. That's the back line. As the throw in from Christian Martinez, you see Jassy Zardes, one of the new faces coming over from the LA Galaxy in the big Ola Kamara trade. Of course, Justin Merrim off to Orlando as Sapporo breaks into the attacking half for the first time tonight. A good square pass. And now to the outside. They play a 3-4-2-1 under the new coach Mihailo Petrovic of Serbian descent. And he's coached all over Eastern Europe as well as Japan. Urara Red Diamonds. His last club, he was there for 5 seasons. This is his first year in charge here of Sapporo. They earn a corner. Vancouver won the earlier matchup. They played Iwaki FC. That's a 3rd division club. That's worked their way up from the 6th division. Good backing of financial dollars there. And they have themselves a goal. Or rather, they will flag that for offside. Naoki Ishikawa looked like he got his ball to the top level of the post. It went over. You'll have to bear with the broadcast location. We're at the opposite end, sitting behind the byline, so we'll make do. Skylar Schmidt, our producer, here on a 70-degree night just outside of Pearl Harbor. So the shot off the mark. And a dangerous attempt off the corner for Sapporo. That pass hit down the line by Tomonuba Yokoyama, who played on loan with the club last year, 26 games. It'll be a Sapporo throw. They were founded in 1935. They play in the Sapporo Dome and share it with the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters, one of the best names in Japanese baseball. Of course, Hokkaido is the northern island if you've ever visited Japan. And Sapporo, it's apropos on this night where the Olympics begin, the Winter Olympics in Asia. Sapporo was the first city to host the Winter Olympics in Asia in 1972. They have their second corner. As it comes off that near right side and delivered in well. Zardes rising. On the chase after it. Hayasaka second-year player here with Consa. That's their nickname for short. Maloney is over to knock it aside. He's out of Penn State in his second season. 5 minutes in here at Aloha Stadium, built in 1975. Longtime host, as you know, you football fans out there, pro football fans of the Pro Bowl, but his facility is aging and its upkeep more trouble than it's worth for the NFL, so they've moved it in recent years to Orlando. Here's Santos. Was a spark plug in the playoffs, although still searching out what will be his first MLS goal when play begins, as Columbus kicks off the 2018 season with a rematch of that Eastern Conference final at Toronto FC. This is Yokoyama, 11-year pro, as he's played all over Japan, 32 years old. It's a 3-4-2-1 in this system, and most Columbus fans know the crew employed that for a good portion of the middle stretch of last season before they really found their groove again. And the 4-2-3-1. You've got Artur and Trapp running the middle of the field. That was, of course, one of the big acquisitions, the securing of Artur. Although he will start the game on the bench, Ricardo Clark was a late move into that starting 11. And Columbus has been very impressed with the professionalism of the longtime veteran as the run towards the attacking third here for Sapporo, and the shot by Reese, Jonathan Reese, the Brazilian, who's 28, and lets it fly. He's played with Vitesse and PSV in the Dutch First Division. A couple of corners early for Sapporo, and a shot that kissed the top of the crossbar. And Columbus a corner in their own right with Higuain in the early minutes. Casa Grande, Arizona, the first stop on the preseason, where Columbus had a couple of scrimmages, Colorado and Seattle. To midfield it goes, and that's flagged down, and will be a Columbus free kick. You see Santos out of Lisbon, Portugal, second season, and 8th overall. Had 2 assists. Really dynamic game against NYC in the first leg of the conference semifinals in the playoffs. Here's Alex Cronali back from hernia surgery that really hampered him the back half of the season. Ricardo Clark steps in, of course, made his name in Houston. And the longtime pro with a foul here. Robert Sabiga by way of Poland. And then Eastern New York is our referee. They have MLS referees here. Alan Chapman refereed the first game. Martinez going down off the replay. Brought down by Tanaka. The 29-year-olds. He plays the wide midfield. 9th minute. Here's Valenzuela. Flew 16 hours from Buenos Aires as that cross, as it was tucked to the outside by Santos, goes right at Sugeno. And his outlet will play towards midfield. And Connor Maloney, who's handling right back chores in the first half. There will be a full-scale swap, pretty much, for both teams at the half. Mentioned Vancouver, they played Iwaki FC in the first game. Kai Kamara drew a penalty late, and Christian Chichera converted. And so Vancouver plays on Saturday night in the championship, 7 o'clock Hawaiian time, 5 o'clock East. Winner will join them. That shot goes crawling by the post. And the better looks early on have gone to Sapporo. This team won the second division in 2016, so they were promoted based on the 85-point campaign they had 2 years ago. Ended up firing their coach, Shuhei Tanaka, who was their U18 coach prior to leading the team for 3 seasons from 2015 to last year. So now you have the Serbian Petrovic, who's 60 years old, guiding them. They're familiar with playing on this fake sod Of course, if you recall, a year and a half ago, the United States women were supposed to play here. The turf was so bad they had to cancel the game, so they got a new surface since. That ball was leaking through Valenzuela. Looking to find a runner. Zardes and Martinez a little bit late. It's tucked back out. And now an ambitious shot from Santos on a bounce. Dealt with by Sugeno, the 16-year veteran keeper, who's played over 236 games in the top division, much of that with Kashiwa Reysol. There's Yokoyama. Yodo. Five hours difference right now without daylight savings in effect. In the summer months, it's 6. And Columbus's pressure trying to ratchet up. They worked on this extensively in the 2-hour session they had on this field in their first day here in Honolulu. Mentioned Valenzuela, the new Columbus left back. She's 19 years old and traveled 16 hours, was ready to play right away and didn't miss a beat, said Greg Berhalter. He's raving about him like he did our tour last season. Slicing that pass into the box was Trapp. Newly earned 3rd cap with the national team in that Bosnia-Herzegovina friendly where he captained the club. Big moment for Will in his young career as it continues to evolve. And spoke about that extensively yesterday. Here's Cronali and Maloney. The second-year players. And Martinez, another guy that has been in the fold now for quite some time. And with the absence of a player like Justin Merrim, he, along with a guy like Nico Hansen, will have a chance to earn more minutes and play more of a key role. Thirteenth minute. And the flag going up for offside on Sapporo. They've won that second division in Japan 3 times, 2000, 2007, 2016. Kosuke Shirai throwing that in. Santos, and the pressure comes. And it's lost off Sapporo. So Milton Valenzuela to throw. Zardes on a good holdup. He had good work in Arizona. And aloha to Jazi Zardes. He says hello with the opening goal. Right on the doorstep of minute 14, and it's 1-0 Columbus. Well, he has the size and the strength. Greg Berhalter having to answer a lot of questions about the new number 9. Whoever's played in that position the last 3 years, whether it be Kai Kamara, Ola Kamara. He wanted to make sure everyone knows these forwards, they're their own people. They're going to get their own goal-scoring chances. And Zardes, who had his breakout campaign a few seasons ago with LA in 14 and then kind of got lost in the shuffle, but not here. He's had a bright start. Injury plagued a couple of years ago. Had to wait till the fall to get his first goal of the season last year, and he said, the change will do me well. He was looking forward to the fresh start here in Columbus, and he's giving the crew the advantage right before the opening quarter hour here in Honolulu. Zach Steffen. It's been an exciting month and a half for him. with the national team, playing and earning his first cap the second half of that scoreless game against Bosnia-Herzegovina. And then his Eagles winning the Super Bowl on Sunday. Huge Philly sports fan. Rico Clark, he slipped on the sod, and this is launched back the other way by Hyoto. And a little bit too much, Stefan on it. Now Trapp. Now the Columbus pressure swaying the momentum back in their favor and helping lead to the Zardes hold-up play and finish. Last year, Gyasi Zardes only 2 goals. I don't think people remember how good he was in 2014. Homegrown player record of 16 goals in that 14th season. There was mild interest at the time. Columbus was looking to perhaps deal for him, but LA wasn't listening to anybody at that point. And of course, playing with good players helps, but now he can turn a new chapter for himself. 16th minute. Clark. And here's the Panamanian, Martinez. As possession is swayed a little bit more back in Columbus's favor. And on cue, Shirai trying to dispossess. Does so, comes in field. Good work of it. And we've seen some players already slipping around on this surface. Apparently it was fluffed up earlier this morning. Pretty matted down walking on it yesterday. It's still not the best. Off the layoff, and a good hit that was blocked into the wall. And now coming out, Clark took a foul from outside his own penalty arc. Ricardo Clark. "34 times he's played for the United States, including the World Cup in 2010. Now that back pass, that's the preseason for you. It sails away, and an unforced giveaway leads to a corner for Consadole Sapporo. It's their third of the first half. Minute 18. Shinji Ono, Japanese legend, and there are 2 on this roster, with Enimoto, who probably will not play till the second half. This 38-year-old is in his 21st season. And a stalwart at 3 World Cups, 56 times playing for his country. Best 11 in the league in 1998, but he's also played in the Netherlands as well as Germany. Long distance effort. Sails high and away. What a season Zach Steffen had. And his rise, he hopes, will stay on the meteoric part of that amazing playoff run that enthralled the city. And it all started with his play in the Atlanta United knockout round game. This will leak back. Taken on by Yokoyama. Ono. And the keeper, Sugeno. Smashing that out of the jam. Sapporo has had their struggles dealing with this Columbus pressure. It's paid dividends, helping lead to the Valenzuela throw that went into Zardes. He cashed in the 14th minute. Long and out of the reach of Christian Martinez. The 21-year-old celebrating his birthday on Tuesday. Got a nice toss into the Marriott Waikiki pool. But a birthday cake. Good work on the outside by Valenzuela. He blocked that off and thought it was last off Shirai. Hime FC, his last club. And last year, in the second division for them, had 4 goals and 7 assists. Playing in that wide midfield role. It's the 4th corner of this first half, and it's Ono to take it. As we're coming up on the midpoint of the opening 45 minutes here in Honolulu. Away it goes. Maloney with his head to it. And now Higuain scattering over. Black and gold, 16, 12, and 6 last year. 54 points. 5th in the East. And in the playoffs for a 3rd time in 4 seasons under Greg Berhalter. Ono got the heel of Pedro Santos. No doubt about it on the foul from the captain. Josh Williams. Here's Crognale. Picks out Rico Clark, who's wearing number 2, Maloney, who did earn 1 start last year as a rookie. That was in Salt Lake, and he played very well. He even earned himself an assist. Higuain doing what he does best, holding it up and earning the foul. That's the 2nd one in a row on Ono, and the warning comes from Sabiga. They call him Tensai Ono. It's genius in Japanese. And so this free kick, which is just outside your picture at the moment, is about 35 yards out. Crognale with his head to it, and Clark swings, misses, and then the second, that's a Sapporo defender. Now it's Valenzuela. Santos. Intriguing ball in, yet Crognale staying forward. Off of the last set piece. Tenth season in MLS for Josh Williams. Eight where he's earned senior minutes. As you remember, primarily reserve his first year with Columbus. That glides to the middle. Good layoff, Zardes, Clark, Valenzuela. Put some sting on that. Now Martinez going to try to battle in the corner. Now really since the goal, the crew have taken control. There was a stretch right outside the opening 3 minutes or so where Sapporo had generated some action in the attacking third, mainly off of earning some corners. Well, the black and gold have settled back in nicely. Here in minute 24. This is the inaugural Pacific Rim Cup, which they hope to make an annual affair. Pro soccer has not been around at the highest level in Hawaii since the late 70s. Team Hawaii in the NASL. Of course, they had a 3rd division team in the USISL, the Pro League or the D3 League. It changed names about 6 or 7 times. That was the Hawaii Tsunami. Lasted for 4 seasons. So they were excited to have pro teams back in town. That is whipped in, and a good ball, and it deflected wide, came back kindly. And Sapporo has tied it. That's Reese, Jonathan Reese. As that ball dealt with Consadole, the only one around, and played it right into the feet of the Brazilian forward. Now, the 28-year-old dealt with some knee issues last year, missed 16 games. Scored 6 goals, though, adds his first of the preseason. Not much time before Sapporo's first J1 League game. That's February 24th, so it's coming up rather quickly. Put their first 2 on the road. They will open with Sanfrecce Hiroshima. Much like the MLS calendar is the Japanese professional leagues, all within 1 year, 1 calendar year, that is. Minute 26, Sugeno slams it away. So in minute 25, it's Reese who ties things up. He scored 8 times for Vitesse. Played 42 games for that Dutch First Division side back in 2012 to 2014. And over 30 games with Sapporo now. For the Brazilian who was initially coming out of his home country to play with PSV. But an ACL injury really hampered him there and much of his time in Europe between 2011 and 2012. Back to 1s on the board. Here in this first half, Will Trapp. Going to pick out Higuain off that circle. Taken away by Yokoyama. He's the backbone of the back 3. Right in the center there. Red and black colors of the club that were initially put into play when they were Toshiba SC. Back from their founding in 1935. In fact, they were in Kanagawa. They ended up moving to Hokkaido back before the 90s. Flag going up for offside. Second call on Sapporo in this first half. And Zach Steffen, who's had a ball go off the top of the crossbar, as well as that pinball affair just moments ago, leading to the game-tying goal. 24th minute, officially the time of the goal. Higuain. Tucked narrow is Valenzuela. Now it's Santos. Going at Shirai. Santos will try and get that back. Played it right to the feet of Reese. Trapp. Looking for that humpback ball over the top for Zardes. He's looked strong and solid. He has the Columbus goal. They're 10 minutes apart tonight. Ono. Yokoyama. Looking down the line, Consadole over for cover, and then Maloney bunkers down to smack it away. Mihajlo Petrovic, no stranger to the Japanese First Division. He's been coaching there since 2006. Had a long stint of playing and then coaching later on in Slovenia. One cap for Yugoslavia back before the SFR dissolved in the early 90s. Ishikawa, fourth year with the club, 14-year veteran. Played with two teams last year, one on loan. That was Vegalta Sendai. Sapporo getting numbers forward. There in red and black, and Columbus in that sunshine strip here in the Aloha State. This 43-year-old facility, which they keep putting a lot of money just to keep it up to code. But voters have some stuff coming to the forefront as Santos flares that across, another Zardes run, just a tad behind. If they want to keep high-level events or get the Pro Bowl back eventually, they're going to have to use taxpayer money. $300 million stadium proposal is on the agenda in the next couple years. University of Hawaii, of course, plays here. But the stadium is owned by the state. It'll be interesting to see if they can get something done. They've got a monorail that they've been trying to build, and it's over budgeted and well behind schedule. Coming forward, Maloney. Seesawing back and forth. Minute 32. Yokoyama. And this 3-4-2-1 is Ishikawa. This team last year, 12 wins, 15 losses, 7 ties. They finished 11th. Actually in a tie for 10th with Cerezo Osaka, but goal differential had them 11th in the standings. Much like the Premier League, you're familiar, of course. Bottom three get relegated down to the J2 League. Their Emperor's Cup is the version of the FA Cup, and actually lost in the second round to Iwaki FC, team that is here. And started in the 6th division and quickly catapulted in the last 5 seasons up to the 3rd division. One here at Aloha Stadium at 33. If Columbus were to win, they'd advance to the late game on Saturday night and play Vancouver. I get the sense Greg Berhalter, though, would rather face teams they don't see on a regular basis. Vancouver, they'll see within the first 3 months of the schedule this season. Usually they've been later in the year. If he had his pick, he'd probably take Iwaki FC, but want to win the tournament, of course. So the only way they'd face them is if they fall tonight. Santos. Now trap. Closed on by Hayasaka. And the 32-year-olds will anchor it back. Shindo. He's got youth international experience with Japan's U18 team. Feeding to Yokoyama. Looks long, finds Shirai. Kosuke Shirai. Like across, Ishikawa. Hangs that up into the box. Steady control from Valenzuela. We had 13 games over the last 2 years with Newell's Old Boys. You see Robert Sabiga. And there's Greg Berhalter. The 44-year-old head coach. Played 44 times for the United States. Shirai. Another ball dealt with in the back line by Connor Maloney. Now Higuain That seeing eye pass from Martinez. And Ishikawa and him collide right around the byline. It'll be a goal kick for Sugeno. Crew will be here till Sunday evening. They'll head back a couple days in Columbus before the next 10 for a return to defend their preseason cup in Charleston. Team will take in Pearl Harbor tomorrow. Which is essentially just across the street, the USS Arizona. Shingai, they've played his side a lot here in this opening half. Off the recoil, here's Reese. He's the Sapporo goal scorer. And to the front it's played, Stefan there. Late run coming from Hayasaka. Much of his work in Japan, almost 200 games with Seigen Tosu. And now, trap, Zardes, controlling touch. And the second one, as you see Jassi kick away the water bottle. He had to fend off the late challenge in the end. Coming in the penalty area from Rasuke Shindo. But Columbus does earn a corner. It's their second of this first half with inside of 10 minutes remaining in it. Reese, the Brazilian, deals with it. Clark, the effort to get it back, goes down, and a penalty given. Robert Sabiga points to the spot. Shinji Ono and Consadole Sapporo can't believe it. They're telling the referee, use your eyes, look at the scoreboard. This is our end of the broadcast location, and I must say that's a generous call. Some light contact. Columbus will have a spot kick here at minute 38. So Jassi Zardes will look for a first half brace. Scored right before the opening quarter hour came to a close. And now he heads to the spot. Long deliberation. Robert Sabiga playing traffic cop here, making sure everyone's outside the box. And Zardes waiting on the whistle against Sugeno. And Jassi Zardes has given Columbus the advantage once more. "1-1" on his jersey, has 2. And the 26-year-old from Hawthorne, California, perhaps on a fortuitous penalty given, doesn't really much care, takes full advantage. And it's 2-1. So in minute 39, Columbus is back in front. And the season begins. Zardes, 34 career MLS goals. Played at Cal State Bakersfield. You can see it in his face, not just because he scored a couple of goals tonight, but even in practice yesterday, training. Looks refreshed. Another baby on the way. So really excited about that. Excited about the opportunity to come to the Midwest and work under Greg Berhalter. Tanaka. He'll throw in here for Sapporo. And continuing on the roll is Takumi Miyayoshi. Another guy who dealt with knee issues last year. Just 8 games in league competition. There's a Kansa throw. Reese. And that leaks through Ono. Goes where he pleases out of that midfield. And a goal kick for Zach Steffen. Off the pressure. Trapp and Clark work together. Maloney is sliced down. Miyayoshi gets a yellow. So he's booked in minute 42. Santos, his pass to Yokoyama, who was waiting for it. Valenzuela. And for Trapp, his touch off to Clark. Ono disrupts it. And a ball over the top, which hangs up on the turf monster. Josh Williams thought he was interfered with on that takeaway by Shirai. Well, the 23-year-old on the right side has been very busy for Consadole Sapporo. Here's Ono, the captain. Miyayoshi waiting on it. Dispossessed by Crognali. He made a nice impression for himself, the homegrown signing last year in 17 games and 12 starts. See a new 11 out there for Greg Berhalter on the start of half number 2. Santos. Salamanders to the middle. Trapp. Now Valenzuela. And Zardes waiting on that ball. But Ishikawa had caught it with his right instep. There's Trapp in the circle. A one-touch layoff Martinez. Maloney. Sees a crowded group of red shirts stacked back. Final minutes here in the first half. Rico Clark. Last year was the first time in his MLS run of 15 seasons where he did not score a goal. This is his 13th MLS season. 15 years as a pro. Of course, he was overseas with Frankfurt and Stabæk back in 2012. Here's Zardes, good turn with some power. Jossie Zardes, and at last go off. In gold from head to toe, literally. And he has the first half double. Have the Crew sit on this 2-1 lead. Penalty in the 39th minute. Got things going. In minute 13, Sapporo and Reese tying it. Just after the midpoint of the first half. They'll have one last push to get on equal terms with Miyayoshi. carving it out toward the corner. It will be a throw. Stayed above. Off the takeaway. They've tied it. Ryoto Hayasaka. No, that's just poor play, falling asleep off the throw. And Sapporo making Columbus pay. 2-2. Felt they were hard done by the penalty. And that's the last kick, literally the last kick of the first half. And it's a cruel one. But it's preseason, folks, so some things to work on. Some good things shown as well for the black and gold. They took the lead early on the Zardes goal. Reese tied it in the 25th. Zardes back on top for Columbus off the PK in the 39th, and at the death of the first half, it's Hayasaka tying things at 2. That's how we stand. We'll step out here in Honolulu at Aloha Stadium and come back for the second half as you watch the 2018 Pacific Rim Cup. We welcome you back to Aloha Stadium. We say aloha for the start of the second half. 2018 Pacific Rim Cup as the black and golds kicking off their formal preseason. They had a couple scrimmages in Casa Grande, Arizona. And here in Honolulu, Hawaii, you see some new faces for the start of the second half. It's 2-2 between Consadole Sapporo from Hokkaido, Japan. Greg Berhalter talking with members of the Sapporo staff. And right at the end of the first half, Ryoto Hayashaka tying things up for the Japanese side. There you see their head man, Mihailo Petrovic. The 60-year-old Serbian was hired back on January 10th after Urara Reds, his last club, for 6 years, where he won 71 games there, including the J-League Cup, which is their version of the League Cup. Just the top two divisions in Japanese football. New faces on both ends. You see Jonathan Mensah, Lalas Abubakar, Mohamed Abu, and John Kempen, who's got to nestle down this ball hit back to him by Harry Offel. Hector Jimenez, that rounds out the back four. Mohamed Abu is paired with Artur. The initial plan was made for him to play with Will Trapp, but they mixed it up at the last second. Rico Clark, long-standing vet, 13 years in MLS, got to go with Will Trapp. And you see Eduardo Sosa, new man in from Venezuela and Zamora FC, where he played 48 games, scored 6 goals. See Columbus in the Sunshine Strip there. Banana Kit going from left to right on your screen. Sapporo in red and black with a new 11 here in half number 2. On the leadoff, this is Fukumori. And John Kempen spearing it. John Kempen coming in for a 4th-round pick in this year's draft, the trade made back on December 13th. He was with the LA Galaxy in their carousel of goalkeepers last year, and having to make a fine save, as you see on that shot coming from Yoshihiro Uchimura. Played 67 games with Ahime FC in the 2nd division of Japanese football, but he's been a long mainstay for Kansa Sapporo. 9 seasons with the club. He has 59 goals in red and black for the Owls. That's whipped in on the corner. One of a handful tonight for Sapporo. Hector Jimenez. This era's version of the Crew's Swiss Army knife, playing so many positions. Suited up in 6 of them during his tenure in Columbus. Names and faces for Sapporo as the half evolves on. They're going to have a tap-in goal here, and it's 3-2. Well, off the giveaway, Ken Tokura won't score an easier one in the J1 League this season. And it's 3-2, 2 unanswered goals, and the Sapporo faithful, well, there's about 75 to 100 this year, or here tonight, applauding that right behind the bench. That's Koji Miyoshi who scores the goal. Tokura the assist, who slid it across. So Miyoshi, who had 1 goal last year in 13 games, he's only 20. And has played for Japan at the U20 World Cup, the U17 World Cup. And an easy giveaway leading to the 2-on-1. And right on the flip side of the second half whistle, Sapporo scoring at the end of the first half and the beginning of this second half, leading 3-2. Now they are a little bit further along in their preseason as they get ready for their opener on the 24th, but still no excuse for the silly mistakes that led to the last 2 goals. Jimenez, Mohamed Abu. Tremendous improvement in the second half of last year's season, so much so that he was relied upon with Artur suspended in that second leg against Toronto FC. Mentioning Eduardo Sosa, here he is on the ball. And he's working along to that left side where Luis Argudo, the rookie out of Wake Forest, he was a third-round pick in this year's draft and a third-team All-ACC member, is getting the look on that left side. Complemented with the likes of Nico Hansen on the right, and Adam John is leading the line. That ball turned in by Jimenez. You see John wearing 14, and Jimenez is going to chase that down. He'll have the throw on the far sideline. So Miyoshi, the 20-year-old, making it 3-2, 2 unanswered goals for Sapporo. Here's Artur. Gliding through, and then the tackle right out in front. Sapporo looks to build. Miyazawa, the captain, when Ono is not wearing the armband. He's 28. All 11 seasons in the Japan Football League with Kansai Sapporo. Artur, once that motor moves, you can keep up, but the communication and spacing, that's part of the early preseason rust. Game speed against quick competition. Ball is out off the giveaway, and Sapporo the throw. Daiki Suga is toss in. Jonathan Mensah, another player that really came along later in the year, even scored a couple of goals for the first time since his stint in France. And paired with Josh Williams. Mike Grella and Gaston Sarro are here. This was another really unforgivable pass with the push coming from the front by Miyoshi, looking for a second goal in the first 6 minutes of this second half. Nearly laid at his feet. This is a great pass. Sosa for the rookie. Argudo, but he never got the shot away. And in the end, Sugano sweeps it away for Sapporo. So Luis Argudo, very smart player, change of pace. That's what Greg Berhalter likes about him. As you see him trying to run onto this. Now Oya Kikuchi, the last line of defense. Longtime Japanese veteran, 1 cap with the national team, and 16 years as a pro. So we're 8 minutes into this second half. It is 3-2. Adam John has that one crawling past. Like a late breaking wave, it just took to the outside. And Adam John, a guy that Greg Berhalter is hopefully he will have a better season from last year. Was disappointed. Adam John was disappointed in his play in his own right. Just a goal in 21 games. Just now the public address announcing the Columbus changes. On this very early February 9th morning back at Ohio. Hope you have your cup of Kona blend coffee. It's only the only grinds that are allowed, right? One of the main industries here in Hawaii, tourism's taken it over. A lot of sugarcane and pineapple farms shutting down through the years. It is 3-2 Sapporo. Miyoshi with the go-ahead. Fukamori. Now it's wide. Suga on back. Tae-min Kim. Well, 2 Koreans on this roster. There's Miyoshi. Weaving through. Left it aside for Komai. Komai was a Asian Champions League winner with Urawa last season. Jonathan Mensah. With 10 minutes played here in the second half. Abubakar. Now Jimenez. The overlap not quite there with Argudo. That's punched out of there by Sugeno. It was curled in well for John. Now Abubakar with his aggressive defending. But there's a little bit of pocket on that near side, as you see, and then pushed aside to the Sapporo bench. It's a good play by the Sapporo keeper. Picked clean by Affel. Right off that touch line. 56th minute. Plenty of action in this. The second game of this first ever Pacific Rim Cup. 5 goals, 4 of them in the first half. Jussi Zardes' night is done, as he had the 2 in the opening stanza. Reese, Hayasaka, and Miyoshi, the latest to score for Sapporo. Adam John mistimed his jump. Wouldn't have mattered. Flag was up in the 57th minute. Well, there's been some intrigue going forward. Some decent balls forward from Sosa. The 21-year-old, always interesting. Despite his experience playing almost 50 games in the first division of Venezuela, how that will translate. Although he did get some looks too in the Libertadores and had a goal. He's looked good in the preseason too. Nice first touch. Speaking of, a good one there. And Ken Tokura, who had the assist on the Miyoshi goal. And here is the 20-year-old who has given Sapporo the lead. Win would have them advance to play Vancouver on Saturday night. If the game were to be tied at the end of 90 in this competition, it goes right to penalties. Penalty decided the first game. Iwaki FC would be in the wake for Columbus if the score holds out as is. And I got a funny feeling there's more goals to offer in this preseason showcase. Nico Hansen, much of his rookie season hampered from the middle of the year on, came back in time for the playoffs and got into a couple of game day rosters, but that hernia he dealt with. Had a game-winning goal, the thrilling finish to beat the Timbers back in March. But feeling good, as you see him. To close down on Tae-min Kim. Went to university in Korea, but his professional soccer playing has been in Japan. He was on the South Korean Olympic team back in Rio. Played a couple of games. He's on that back line. New faces all over the place since his second stanza. Mensah. That Gan quad, as it was known last year. 4 of them on the field together right now. Afful, Abubakar, Abu, and Mensah. Here's the second-year player from Dayton. And now Hector Jimenez curls back in field. Artur. A touch and a take to the outside, Hansen. Afful. Sosa slipped. Afful came on, rips it home. Won't matter. He disagrees. The flag was up for offside, and it's unfortunate too. There are about 36 Crew fans here. It was right down at that end. What a rocket from Afful. And Columbus players can't believe it. He's got that power in his shot, though. That was impressive. 2 years ago, had 3 goals. It was a tough year for him last year. Really no preseason with the African Cup of Nations. Had some nagging injuries. And his young son, who is doing just fine, thank you, but dealing with some heart issues early on. Took an emotional toll, but you saw how emotional he was after that final whistle in the second leg in Toronto. He wants to win, wants to do it now, and loves playing in Central Ohio. Inside the last 30 minutes, we hit it here in the second half. Argudo, now to Jimenez, Artur. It's a 3-2 Sapporo lead. John Kempen. Kansas City homegrown player. He signed at 16. They really wanted him to thrive there. Never could quite get it going. Given some opportunity, including CONCACAF Champions League play. And some new scenery last year. It was a rough year for not only the Galaxy, but their keepers in particular. In fact, 2 of the 3 they had are here in Honolulu. Ryan Rowe is with Vancouver. Kempen here in Columbus. And Clement Diop is also away from the South Bay. We brought in David Bingham. It was a good offseason for the Galaxy. "23 days away from the start of another MLS campaign. Some pressure here, Sapporo. They'll start their season on February 24th. Argudo, Abubakar. Some young players there, and they get out of a jam. Sosa. He accelerates nicely. Good turn, Hansen. Crisscross running from John. And a push to the channel. Afful got his man in the air. Lingers back to Abu. Artur still wears that wrapping around his left wrist. Hasn't been a full year yet. That was mid-April. And had surgery after, came back. What a find. Here's Sosa. Lively legs. You know, the 5 shirts in red and black in the back. Initially take care of it, then an Artur foul. That's Kento Kura. 31-year-old had 9 goals last season. 9 of the 39 scored during the campaign for Sapporo. They were middle of the pack in pretty much everything. Abubakar. That pass off the mark. Uchimura. Well, he had it initially. The instructions from Petrovic. And now Abu is fouled by Tokura. Artur. Sosa. Got around 2. And stepping into that roadblock that is Enemoto. And what a career for Junichi Enemoto. Another wise one at 38 with Ono, and both have played in 3 World Cups. 82 caps for Junichi Enemoto. But pretty much lost all of last year. That's what will happen as you get older. Injuries can really pay the toll. Knee injury cost him 28 games. He only played 6 times. He's in 17 in red and black, shading off to that far side of the screen as this is lobbed into the path of John. Minute 67, and now transition. Consadole Sapporo. They've trailed twice in this one. They lead for the first time. And that came very early here. In the first few steps of the second half. Miyoshi, a 20-year-old, off another Columbus mistake, and 2 of them have been costly goals within moments of each other and moments of whistles. 1 to end the first half, 1 to start the second. Artur. Sosa. Scattered against 2. Affel. Harrison Affel coming into his 4th season in Columbus. 13 overall for the Ghanaian, capped 75 times for the Black Stars. Day off tomorrow for the clubs, and Saturday's games and times for that matter moved up an hour. 4 o'clock Hawaiian, 7 o'clock Hawaiian. So a championship game appearance would be a midnight Eastern start. Sunday morning for that matter. If they play the early game Columbus, that would be 9 Eastern. Good run, Artur. John coming over to the far stick. It's played out in the end. That's what Artur does, just mosey on through. Deft little touch. And a delicate little pass. Fukumori in place to knock it away. Off that corner. Shading both from the far side and near side. John rising. Sugeno, who's the only Sapporo player to stay on after the first half. Lunging out again. Affel. This cross Jimenez. Volleyed that off the forehead. Here's Adam John. Jimenez. Sugeno spilled it, but he collects the crumbs. Well, poor surface or not necessarily a bad thing. You have two teams here that are used to playing on the artificial stuff during their seasons, but we've never really minded under Greg Berhalter playing on this surface because they can move the ball quicker. We've seen that at times tonight. And by we, I mean myself and Skylar Schmidt, our producer and digital media guru. "20 minutes remaining, a foul here. Robert Sabiga has a conversation. There you see Junichi Enemoto. One of the first Japanese players to get considerable recognition for playing in the Premier League with West Brom. Galatasaray, Rennes, so he's been in Turkey, France, Eintracht Frankfurt, Cardiff City, Fulham. A couple of games in the Champions League with Arsenal. That was back in 2002, 38 years young. Tokura, big center forward. A new system employed by Petrovic, the head man for Sapporo, 3-4-2-1. Jersey tug there, coming from Miyazawa. A foul in midfield. Abu. Abubakar. Circling back. A little hot and heavy passing to Mensah. Kempen. There you see with which the comfort Sosa receives the ball. Very integrated already, just in terms of the flow of the attack. Like the motor on this guy. Lost it there. A couple of young cogs that Greg Berhalter will hope will be key as this season begins after losing some big offensive stalwarts in Ola Kamara and Justin Merrim. With their trades to LA and Orlando, respectively. 73rd minute, still time to tie things up. We'd go right to PKs if that was the case after 90. And as I said at the outset of this one, Berhalter necessarily wouldn't mind playing Milwaukee FC just because of the different type of competition outside of MLS. Of course, that would be at the cost of not playing in the championship game. But they will be looking to defend their cup in Charleston in the preseason. And they head down there for about 10 days or so. And then it's week one, hard to believe. It always feels much shorter, especially when there's a deep playoff run involved, and that was the case as it was in 2015. Almost thought they had the tying goal. Phenomenal shot by Affel off the crossbar and in, but the flag came up for offside. Here's Hansen. Keeping that on a string as he yo-yos it back. Abubakar. Now Mensah lofting it up. Good win by Affel. Here's Sosa. Sizzling high in the Honolulu night sky. You might guess The weather was quite wonderful today. They're on the island of Oahu. Of course, being winter, you do get the trade winds bringing in the stray shower. Much like you'd see a summer rainstorm down in Florida, passing through, coming over the mountains. Daiki Suga. His throw in. Puts Mayoshi in a path. 20-year-old for Tokura. Lofting it up for Komai. Columbus coming away unscathed off that latest Sapporo push. 15 minutes remain. In their first organized preseason affair of 2018, can Columbus tie things up? Been a fun one here at Aloha Stadium. Hansen. Now Abu. Darting that across Jimenez. Trying to tuck the header. Argudo and John trying to respond. It's knocked out. Well, the Crew get a corner. And you're in minute 76. The Ohioans and the team from the Pacific Rim. Consadole, Sapporo. Mensah and Abubakar rising there. It'll scatter. Here's Sosa. Just a clean engine. Great first step. Hansen. He danced around a bit too much. He was closed down, but not fully away. Artur. Affel. John. He was out in front. The remnants to Nico Hansen. But still, no shot found for the second-year player from New Mexico. Columbus with some urgency here. Back on the ball. Circling well. Late time pass. Abu began the run. Argudo with the right idea, just a tad tardy. And that'll be a Sapporo throw. J-League as it is now, J1 League. Came to fruition in its current form in 1992. And that man's seen a lot of Japanese soccer. Dozen years at the helm now of his third different team. Gonna be a goal kick for John Kempen. Mentioned earlier, John Kempen, the new acquisitions. Mike Grella among them. Plan is to have him ready at some point in March. He's coming back from a pretty big knee injury with the Red Bulls. Argudo, heavy collision there on the tackle, and the youngster from Wake Forest is down. And a second booking is issued by Robert Sabiga. And Gaston Sarro, the hope is to have him ready by opening day against Toronto FC. He's in good spirit, though. His fam waiting out the cold weather back in Argentina. They're on the trip, enjoying things, training off to the side. Artur. Mensah. Minute 79. Off the restart. That's Sosa pushing it out. I mentioned in the first half, Team Hawaii played here in the NASL just for a couple of years before folding. That was the only time, and one of only two in the state's history, that there have been a professional franchise. The other was the Hawaiians, simply the Hawaiians in the old WFL. An old Team Hawaii moved from San Antonio. They were owned by Ward Lay of Lay's Potato Chips. Didn't really have the effect that Spam does for the culture here, though. So your fun fact of half number 2. 3-2 Sapporo. And in the 81st minute off that deflection, Suga to throw it in. As it stands now would be Vancouver and Sapporo. On Saturday night, Columbus would play 4 o'clock local time, Hawaiian, and 9 Eastern against Milwaukee FC. Young club that was founded in 2012. Has quickly risen into the 3rd division of Japanese soccer. As is the case, some things to like for both of those guys and some things to work on. Simple defending mistakes really on all 3 of the goals. But you have the familiarity, the cohesion, chemistry you're trying to develop. This is the case. You should never really read into the lineups too much in a situation like this. You're trying things out, seeing who works well together. Kempen. Sapporo's really brought the pressure, much like Columbus did at this end in the first half, and backed the Columbus rear guards against the wall. Mensah and Abubakar. A couple of passing issues, one that led to the goal. And nearly a second for Miyoshi. Minute 82. Here in Honolulu. Sugeno. He's been the only one out there from start to what will be finish. Mensah has to clear that away. The push was on after another jailbreak. And Abubakar trying to hustle back. Komai, Miyoshi. Got a lot of speed. And we're putting it on, trying to put the game away here late for Sapporo. Sixth corner of the night for Consadole Sapporo. Leading at 3-2, 84th minute. Looks like a couple of substitutions, or one for sure. Water break for others. Limping a bit is Komai. He comes off. And Shindo comes on. Rosuke Shindo is on after that, and Tokura got a clean look at a header. It phased across an open goal mouth and then went out of the end. Goal kick for Kempen. From the suburbs of Kansas City. Leawood, Kansas, away it goes. John Rising, he got fouled from behind. Bumped in the back. By Tae-Min Kim. Still have an injured Sapporo player down as Columbus restarted things with 5 minutes left. Don't need to speak the language to know that means elbow from Kikuchi. Adam John maybe not taking too kindly to the previous off the goal kick. Minute 86. Takanori Sugeno restarting things to the touchline. And like a bolt of lightning pushing forward. Sapporo flashing the attack, but a slow roller hit at Kempen. Daiki Suga was coming off the wing, bringing some terror. See the armband on Harrison Affel, the captain here in the second half. Minute 87. There have been some forays to the final third for the Crew here in half number 2. They have not been able to get on equal terms. Thought they did, but the shot by Affel was ruled offside. Here's Eduardo Sosa, the Venezuelan. That's his poor touch. He's going to get a bailout here. It was knocked out, and a foul was called. Artur trying to cue ball that. Miyazawa deflects right back into the path of the Brazilian, who joined officially after the season-long loan last year from Sao Paulo. Transfer made official back on December 6th. Suga, he's young, just 19, U18 experience with Japan. Had a goal and 2 assists in 22 games last year. Foul here. Sapporo trying to break up the rhythm, slow things down, and walk out of here with a date to play Saturday night against Vancouver. Safe play by Mensah. He had to field that ball, hit back by Jimenez. Abubakar. Now for Abu. Foul here, third yellow given to Sapporo tonight. Miyoshi, he has what would go as the game winner. Artur. That pass will get through, and a dead sprint for Hansen. Getting late. Don't envision much stoppage time, if any at all, here in these preseason games. And now you can see Hansen looking a little ginger as he walks back, grabbing that hamstring. Just trying to chase down that pass from Artur. or tour. Sosa coming up on 2:45 in the morning back in the East. And mahalo to those of you who have stayed up late to watch this one. Final 20 seconds of regulation, 3-2 Sapporo. Different units for Greg Berhalter in each half. Some good things. Zardes scoring twice. Decent movement in the attack, but some sloppy giveaways leading to some costly goals off the mistakes. 1 minute of second half stoppage time. And if Columbus cannot force a penalty kick shootout, they'll be playing 9 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Hawaiian on Saturday against Milwaukee FC, who lost 1-0 to Vancouver. Argudo, third-round pick out of Wake Forest. Had 9 goals last year, or in his career. 8 of those 9 came in his senior season. Another Sapporo player down, trying to stall things out. Off a little contact, that's Shindo. He came on just about 5 minutes ago. 21-year-old. U18 Youth International with 8 games of senior team experience last year. Lobbed in the air, Mensah nods it forward. A leap for Miyazawa. And as it hits the sod, it comes to a conclusion with the final whistle from Robert Sabiga. Well, the Crew led twice in the first half, only to watch that evaporate in the blink of an eye. Right before the end of the first half, Sapporo tied it. And another mistake defensively took the lead inside the first minute of half number 2. And that would stand up. Miyoshi has the game winner. 3-2 the final. Hayasaka and Reese the other goals for Sapporo. We'll move on to play Vancouver. And Columbus, Milwaukee FC, the opponent. This young club, which is just in its 6th season, the 3rd division of Japanese soccer. And competed very well with Vancouver in the opening game. They will await Columbus as they'll play 9 o'clock Eastern on Saturday. We'll have that for you here at Aloha Stadium, 4 o'clock Hawaiian. Again, mahalo. Thanks for staying up in these early morning hours. This opening preseason match from the Pacific Rim Cup, where Hokkaido Consadole Sapporo wins it 3-2 over the black and gold. Want to thank Skylar Schmidt on site here in Honolulu for his production and digital work. You're seeing some highlights. Zardes off the throw from Valenzuela. Looking very strong in the box. He scored, but Reese off a failed cleanup got a second look there. He had tied the game at 1. Here's the penalty calls. Sapporo feeling it was very generous from Robert Sabiga, and Zardes with some power. As Sugeno going the other way, it was 2-1. That was in minute 39, and right before the half, tucking in between the center backs, Hayasaka tying the game at 2. And as mentioned, Miyoshi scoring in the opening minute of the second half. Kempen making an early stop. Here would be that goal off the miss by Mensah, leading for a 2-on-1, and Tokura knocking it over. And Miyoshi would make it 3-2. Columbus thought they had tied the game. Not so the case. Great shot by Offel, but it was ruled offside. And some moments of danger. Sugeno knocking a couple of balls away that came inside his 6-yard box. Helped preserve the 3-2 Sapporo victory. So there it is. The final score here for the second game here at Aloha Stadium. For Skylar Schmidt, I'm Neil Seacom. We'll talk to you on Saturday night back in Central Ohio. 9 o'clock kickoff time for the consolation match between Columbus Crew Soccer Club and Milwaukee FC. From Aloha Stadium here in Honolulu, Hawaii, Sapporo 3, Columbus 2. Aloha and good night or good morning. So long, everyone.